is happening, Magnus sites? So this is that game that a lot of us were wary about. Not sure. Like, I don't know. That first gameplay came out, it just seemed really boring? Peaceful and boring. Like, it just didn't feel like Sonic really to us. It felt like it was some type of concept they were working on. But let's check this out. Let's see what IGN's got to say.
Sonic Frontiers doesn't limit you to a small, carefully curated menu of things to try. Instead, it takes the all-you-can-eat buffet approach, throwing new ideas at you from start to finish, without really seeming to care if they're fresh and appetizing, or looking wilted and limp under the heat lamp. When I jumped off the starting line of this sprint across Sonic's first open-world game, I certainly didn't expect to play jump rope, duke it out with a giant robot, watch a dramatic origin story for an extinct race of beings, or... Do you know how to fish? I'll teach you if you want. But Frontiers kept me guessing, even late into the campaign, with what it would try next. Even when some of those ideas didn't work, I was almost always glad that Sega gave it the old college try. And as a result, I rarely found myself bored. I did find myself feeling blue because of the absurd amount of pop-in that happens every time this famously fast character does his thing. But Sonic Frontiers is, for the most part, a promising first attempt at blazing a new trail for the series. While you're working your way through Frontiers' chain of 5 Starfall Islands during its roughly 20-hour campaign, you'll uncover the dark and extremely predictable backstory of a long-extinct race while hanging out with Sonic family favorites like Amy and Knuckles. You'll also meet this strange new enemy named Sage, and learn what her deal is in the most agonizingly slow way possible.
You leave immediately.
Since her main hobbies appear to be dodging pointed questions and speaking exclusively in vagaries.
If we are fortunate, it will destroy you.
With all of the different plot threads Frontiers juggles, they do end up feeling oddly disconnected from each other, and none of them offer a ton of surprises between their ungodly number of cliches concerning the power of friendship and ancient civilizations wielding advanced technology.
I got a sense of completion, comfort.
Weird. But they do leave room for some really good moments between the furry cast of characters.
Never a dull moment with you.
In fact, Frontiers produces some of the most in-depth characterizations of the Sonic cast we've ever seen in a game. One part of the campaign hones in on the brotherly rivalry between Sonic and Knuckles, while another does a great job at building Tails up as more than just Sonic's sidekick. All of that more than sated my ravenous appetite for Sonic's usual anime-style nonsense.
It's strange, but feels natural.
In between all of the fancy robot kicking and rolling around at the speed of sound. Sprinting through the sprawling open-world areas is, as you'd hope, one of the best parts of this odyssey. The islands you dash about on are suitably large playgrounds for you to test the limits of your road running, so long as you don't fall into water or lava that immediately kills you. My personal favorite new trick, though, is the side loop. It lets you draw a circle while blazing a trail to create a tornado of death that impacts everything caught within it. This ability can be used and abused to do damage in combat, solve puzzles, and even farm rings since it generates a few every time.
Okay.
Plus, literally running in circles around your enemies is just an incredibly Sonic thing to do, which is why I practically never stopped doing it throughout my playthrough. What becomes clear after a few laps around the first island is that Sonic Frontiers is an action-adventure game that joins a growing pack of old-school series looking to reimagine themselves as open-world sandboxes. And in this particular case, it mostly works out. Just like Pokemon Legends Arceus and Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain before it, Frontiers keeps a lot of what makes the Sonic series beloved and unique, including some fun homages, but also throws in big areas to explore and fills them with a wild assortment of side distractions and mostly interesting new ideas. Not all of those activities are created equal, but it works overall just because of the sheer variety. One moment you're juggling robots like you're playing Baby's First Devil May Cry, the next you're trying to beat a time trial in a 2D platforming stage. And a minute after that,
you hit hard.
Pinball inside of an active volcano. You'll grind truly epic rails, solve extremely simple puzzles, do some puzzle platforming, and of course, catch fish. Because if you can't fish, does it even count as an open world game? There were moments where I saw glimpses of genius in this bizarre hodgepodge of activities. Sections called cyberspace levels smartly break up the open world by teleporting you into bite-sized, traditionally linear Sonic levels, where you're racing the clock and collecting rings as you mad dash for the goal line. On the other hand, one of the big things Frontiers tries that doesn't work well is combat. You're just mashing buttons to pull off simple combos and knock the snot out of faceless robotic enemies. I appreciated the occasional break from platforming, but since it never proves to be a challenge and throws you into almost identical fights again and again, I soon came to resent being yanked out of my lightning speed racing just to smack down another bunch of dumb toaster-looking fools. It's especially annoying when it comes to the mini-bosses roaming the open world, who often dragged me into unskippable fight sequences that weren't particularly challenging or interesting, though the giant bosses that cap off each island, which I will not spoil here, are far more exciting.
Okay.
There are other things Frontiers has you do, like solving very easy puzzles that range from mildly amusing minigames to completely brain-dead chores, or dipping your toes into RPG mechanics by gathering collectibles to raise your stats. These aren't terrible additions, but they also don't feel like they're entirely fleshed out. The upgrades in particular are a bit odd since they do things like let you carry more rings, or increase your attack and defense stats by such minor amounts that they barely have an impact on gameplay. It's almost like the developer shrugged and said, sure, why not? And threw every idea they could come up with into the mix just for the heck of it.
What are they?
The biggest shortcoming with this new open-world design, though, has nothing to do with the buffet of mostly amusing activities. It's simply that Frontiers is not at all able to keep up with Sonic's godlike speed on a technical level. My immersion was broken about every 5 seconds when large objects popped into view right in front of me. Granted, that's sometimes hilarious, but it's always jarring and just plain ugly. Most of the time it's a railing or platform that blips into existence a couple feet away from you, but sometimes it's entire areas of the world. For all of its amazing quick loading capabilities, the PS5 just couldn't seem to handle how hilariously fast Frontiers let me go. Whether I was playing in the 4K resolution mode at 30 FPS, or the much more desirable 60 FPS mode, seriously, what are we even doing here playing a game this fast at any less? The pop-in was always a common issue.
Help me find the Chaos Emerald so I can beat up some big robots. You'll be free and back to guarding the Master Emerald in no time. Sounds like a plan.
Sonic Frontiers is a delightfully weird and experimental evolution of the Sonic
evolution
we grew up with. Its expansive islands are filled with so much variety and pieces of Sonic history, from classic platforming stages to silly minigames, that they're enjoyable to explore even when awful graphical pop-in is a constant hedgehog spine in your side. Some of the new stuff Frontiers tries out, like the self-contained cyberspace levels within its open world, are fantastic ways to pack as much Sonic goodness as possible into one package, while others, especially combat, are uninteresting experiments gone wrong. Still, I largely enjoyed my time running around in Frontiers, making it feel like a promising first attempt at what could be a bright new era for Sonic and friends. For more, check out our reviews of God of War Ragnarok or Bayonetta 3. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
7 out of 10, huh? It sounded, the review sounded like they wanted to give it something lower than a 7. Y'all know it. That didn't sound like a damn 7. It sounded like a 5. You know what I mean? I don't know. I took a look at the first two that I saw this morning. I saw Dreamcast Guy and I saw Skill Up. I saw both of their reviews, and they kind of confirmed my concerns about it. Dreamcast Guy liked it more than Skill Up did. But I'm just like, I'm not sold on getting this. Although, on a lighter note, a game that I was more concerned about, but ended up being sold by the combat trailers, was Gotham Knights, which I'm playing right now. I feel like it's getting better. It's getting better. It's still, it feels a little like Arkham games, but like something else also. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm starting to like it more. So, yeah. We'll see by the time I beat it how I feel about it. But it's lacking the feel that I'm accustomed to with Arkham. But I'm starting to kind of get the hang of certain things. So, yeah. So, are you getting Sonic Frontiers or not? I can't see myself getting it. Maybe if the price drops, I'll try it out. I don't know. Post comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed my reaction and thoughts on this review, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Woo! Boy.